All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here on Independence Day, paying tribute to a music legend and also someone who served his country, which I think is amazing. And talking about this in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. If you don't know the story of Jeff Carson, um, this is something truly unique. So, Jeff Carson back in the mid 90s, hit number one with this tune called Not on Your Love, a debut album. He followed it up with another song called The Car, which is one of these tear jerking songs having to do with a relationship between a son and a father and this car, which is the subject of the song. But if you don't like tear jerking, slow ballad like songs, you probably won't get it. But I remember the song was everywhere. Country radio had embraced, and I think Jeff even won a country music award for this. But his story is told on his website. So I'm not going anywhere really unique. I'm just going to tell the story because it's such an amazing story. So Jeff Carson considered himself a blessed man. He had two careers, music and police work. Wait till you find out why he got into police work. As a youngster, he and his family would sing three-part harmony on trips. One of those trips was to Branson, where he saw a show that inspired him, and he told his high school counselor that he wanted to get into music. The counselor didn't discourage Carson. Instead, he picked up the phone and made some calls and encouraged Carson to pursue a career in music. After high school, Jeff entered a talent contest sponsored by the Ozark Mountain Music Association in Northwest Arkansas, and he came in second place. He won the brass key. However, because the singer from the winning band asked him to join their band as a lead guitar player, he actually became even more famous. He didn't really consider himself a lead guitarist, but lucky enough, the band's bass player quit. So he ended up staying with the band. He stepped right into that role. He says, I played with them for 2 or 3 years. The band broke up, and I decided to move to Branson. Luck, as he keeps saying here, I don't know if it's luck. It's, I think, something a little stronger than luck, stayed with him. And he learned right away that another bass player had just quit one of the bands that played there. He auditioned again and was hired. He says, I couldn't have been happier, and I played with them for a couple of years. Carson was content in Branson, but his wife, Kim, convinced him to move to Nashville. And so they did in 1989. In Nashville, his luck stayed with him because a friend of his wife had a duo that was working at the Opryland Hotel, and their bass player had just quit. They hired Jeff, and he was fortunate enough to not have to take another job outside of music. Of course, a lot of these guys starve trying to become famous. Apparently, all of this luck, as Jeff describes it here, or at least in this bio, got him to this point. In addition to playing with this band, he also persuaded the hotel to hire him as a solo act. Carson quickly learned the places where he could meet music business folks. He also volunteered to do demos for songwriters absolutely free just to get his foot in the door. He sang demos on songs that turned into hits. Walk into Jerusalem, Tracy Byrd. I See It Now, Tracy Lawrence. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, Reba McEntire. I Wouldn't Want It Any Other Way, Tim McGraw. And It Matters to Me, Faith Hill. These were all ginormous hits later on. Singing demos turned into another lucky decision for Jeff Carson when he met record producer and publisher Chuck Howard, who cut 3 or 4 songs that were good enough to pitch to record labels. Howard was instrumental in getting him his label deal at Curb Records. And soon, a single, Yeah Buddy, was released to radio. It was my first charting single, and it set me up for the next one, Not on Your Love, which became my first #1 single. The following single, The Car, became a top 5 hit. And like I said, is a gut-wrenching song about a relationship between a father and a son and a car. That song brought in many stories from people about their father. He says, I remember one that really touched me. We were in California and playing the song on radio, and one guy called in and said, I haven't talked to my dad in 20 years. And when I heard that song, I had to pull over and call him. Carson had several other singles, including Real Life Was Never the Same Again, for his album Real Life. An album release party was planned for Real Life on September 11th, 2001. That's when this story gets even more interesting. That morning, terrorists hijacked 2 planes to attack the Twin Towers in New York City and one that attacked the Pentagon in Washington. A 4th plane was hijacked from the terrorists and crashed into Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Its destination was unknown, but most likely it was probably the White House. The song made it into the top 20. So his new single, called Real Life, was Never the Same Again. That's the title of the song. And this happened right around 9/11. It made it into the top 20, but it all changed after that, explained Carson. I had to make a tough decision on whether to continue in music or make a career change. Now, why would he make a career change? For some people, this would have been one of the worst decisions of their lives. But once again, they say luck intervened. I would say it's something different than luck, but I didn't write this. Carson had always said that if he had not pursued music, he would have looked at a career in law enforcement. He says, I was always very pro law enforcement. If we had time after a show, I'd go ride with officers on patrol. So this guy would do shows, and then he'd go out with police officers on patrol. I always said, if music went away, the only thing I'd like to do would be to be a cop. So in 2007, when he went to a family dinner for Thanksgiving, his wife, Kim, told him that she was scared, but if he still wanted to be a policeman, that was okay. Carson went through the police academy in Franklin, Tennessee, and was hired to the department in May of 2008. So this guy had a #1 single on country radio in 1995. And by May of 2008, he was a member of the police department. Then Franklin had a 16-week academy and 3 months of ride-alongs before he was released out on his own. He was one of the older applicants at the academy at age 44. So at age 44, he became a cop. The singer admitted that for about 8 years, he didn't pick up his guitar. And then a few years ago, someone called him and asked if he would do a show at a casino in Michigan. I told him I'd see if I could remember the words to my songs, but really the words and chord progressions and playing guitar came back to me right away. After that, a person who books shows for the Fraternal Order of Police contacted him to see if he would like to do a few Fraternal Order of Police shows. He liked that idea, so he did a Merle Haggard tribute and one to George Jones and played some of the older stuff, and the audiences really liked that. After that, I started to get other bookings, and I've been back out on the road doing my music again. I'm grateful that people remember me when I play shows. They bring old pictures they have taken with me from a fanfare or a show I did near them. It's touching to see these pictures from fans, and I know they still remembered me and loved my music. Following political upheaval and the outbreak of COVID-19 in 2020, in March of 2021, Carson re-recorded God Save the World, a song he had recorded previously with Lisa Brokop. Without a doubt, this song is more relatable to today's society than when I cut it years ago, he admitted at the time. I think people will appreciate its message, It just felt like the right time to re-record it since it was not a hit previously. Most recently, in 2021, Carson signed with Encore Music Group and began recording a specialty album of his biggest hits to include duets with Michael Ray, Daryl Worley, Mark Wills, and Craig Morgan. However, on March 27th, 2022, before the album's release, Jeff Carson sadly passed away from a sudden heart attack at the age of 58. However, Encore Music posthumously released the album fittingly titled 448, which was Jeff Carson's badge number. They put it out on May the 12th of 2023, just as Jeff would have wanted. While the passing of Jeff Carson was a tremendous loss for his fans, community, and loved ones, before his death, Carson explained that he had no regrets in his career choices. I have had the best of both worlds and feel very fortunate that I have had the opportunity of doing two things that I love. Yeah. And as far as having the sudden heart attack, I don't even want to go there in this video. I just don't. I don't know if Jeff Carson did whatever other people did in 2021. This is his website. You can go to it, jeffcarson.com. It's jeff-carson.com. This is a true American hero, both a music legend and somebody who served their country in law enforcement. And on this Independence Day, I think it's fitting to honor somebody who probably didn't get a lot of recognition when he passed away. But just some really great music from the 90s, and apparently a really decent human being, somebody who is certainly better than most of us, who went from a career in music to a career in law enforcement. So there you have it, Jeff Carson. All right. Thanks for watching. God bless everyone. Sometimes God opens doors, right? It's not all just luck, as this website said. You know, I read the word luck over and over again. I see God's hand in all of this. And at the end, you might say, well, didn't end well for Jeff Carson. But you know what you have to do? You have to look to somebody like this for inspiration. And certainly we need more of that today. Jeff was right. His songs probably work better in today's world than they did back in the 1990s. So my hat's off to Jeff Carson, and my thoughts and prayers are with his family and all those that have been touched by his music.